Hey guys, so this is all about graphing quadratics in standard form. Not everything is done in vertex form, so oftentimes we have to do this. So this video, by the end of it, you're going to know how to graph using a table of values to figure out what that graph of that function looks like. Okay, so first off, I have to remind you what the quadratic function looks like in standard form. And that is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. We've been using that with the quadratic formula, with the discriminant, the b squared minus 4ac. And now we're going to be analyzing this for the next two videos. So to get the graph of a quadratic function, remember it looks like a U. Okay, and it has this fancy thing in the middle, and we call that the axis of symmetry. So the great thing about the axis of symmetry is that we can find it using a part of the quadratic formula. And that part says it's x equals the opposite of b over 2a. That will give me the x coordinate of that axis of symmetry. The y coordinate, I can then take that x and plug it in and get that y. So here I'm going to find my axis of symmetry in example number 1. First up, identify A, B, and C. A is going to be 1. When there's not a number written there, it's always 1. B is -3. C is 5. Just like we did with the quadratic functions. And now I plug it in. X equals the opposite of b. So the opposite of -3 is 3 over 2 times 1. So this is really 3 over 2, or 1.5 if you guys like decimals. I personally like fractions. But I'm then going to use that, and that is going to be my key point that I need to use in my table. When I go to my table, you'll notice that I have 5 slots. You should always have 5 slots in it. And right in the middle is where I put my 1.5, my vertex point, my axis of symmetry. That's going to allow me to kind of mirror some points later, and hopefully you recognize that. The two above are for 2 points less than that. So less than 1.5, I'm going to choose the easy ones, 1 and 0. Above it is 2 and 3. There's a reason why I choose them equally spaced, and hopefully you'll recognize it pretty shortly. So that's my x value. I then plug it into this equation and work it out. I'm going to start with my vertex, okay? So I'm going to plug in 1.5 squared minus 3 times 1.5 plus 5. I then square them. Square this first one. 2.25 minus 3 times 1.5 is 4.5 plus 5. I then add them together, and I get 2.75. Okay, I wrote it down here because I don't have enough room right here. So that is my first point. 1.5, 2.75. And again, I know this is decimals, but I can still estimate. If I'm over here, all right, that 1.5 is between 1 and 2. So that's that axis of symmetry line. My vertex is at 2.75. So I'm going to go on this line, go 1, 2, I'm not going to make it to 3. That is my vertex. I know my parabola is going to be somewhere right there. Now I'm going to choose plug in the other points. So 1 squared minus 3 times 1 plus 5. Well, 1 squared is 1 minus 3 plus 5. 1 minus 3 is -2 plus 5 is 3. So then there's the point 1, 3. Okay? Now I plug in 0. 0 is always the easiest one. 0 minus 0 plus 5. Okay? That's 5. 0, 5. Now I'm going to go down here to above it. 2 squared minus 3 times 2 plus 5. 2 squared is 4 minus 6 plus 5. 4 minus 6 is negative 2 plus 5 is 3. 3 squared minus 3 times 3 plus 5. 3 squared is 9 minus 9 plus 5. 9 minus 9, 0, plus 5 is 5. Do you see that if I choose the right points, it goes 5, 3, 2.75, that was a hard one, then 3, 5. These two numbers repeat. And it will repeat all the time if my vertex is in the middle. It makes my work so much easier. Now I just plot them. 0, 5, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 5. I have that U shape that I can just draw right through. Now, let's do this again with one that's negative. Okay? Again, first step, A equals negative 1. B equals negative 2. C equals 2. I don't use C, I just like to write it, though. So my axis of symmetry, that's my first step, is axis of symmetry, is x equals the opposite of b over 2a. In this case, opposite of b. So 2 over 2 times negative 1. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 2 over negative 2 is 1. That is my axis of symmetry. Oh, sorry, negative 1. That's my axis of symmetry. Meaning that this graph is going to be cut in half right along that line somewhere. So that is what goes right in my middle of my table. Okay? That is my first x value. The next step is to do my f of x equals negative x squared minus 2x plus 2. I'm going to plug in these numbers that I choose and figure out what my f of x or my y point is, and then plot it. Okay? So, two numbers below it. This is the tough cut when it's negative, negative 2, negative 3. The next ones, 0 is going to be nice and easy, and 1. So, now I plug these in for x. Okay? So, I'm going to do a little work over below it. Okay? So, negative 1 squared minus 2 times negative 1 plus 2. So negative 1 squared. Remember, when I square something, it is always positive. So this is really positive 1, but then I got another negative. This is really negative 1. Negative times a negative is a positive. Plus 2. Ooh. 4 minus 1, which is 3. Okay? I'm going to do the negative 2 next. Okay? Negative times negative 2 squared minus 2 times negative 2 plus 2. There's a lot of 2's there. Negative 2 squared is 4 times negative 1, negative 4. Negative times a negative is a positive, so plus 4 plus 2. This negative 4 plus 4 cancels out, so I'm really left with 2 there. Ooh. Let's do the 0 real quick. 0 squared is 0 minus 0 plus 2. 0 is always the easiest one. Oh, look at it, 2. Do you see how the vertex and then the points right next to it, they're the same. Okay? Now let's do the 1, because I know it's going to be the same. So, negative 1 squared minus 2 times 1 plus 2. So, that's going to be a negative 1. minus 2 plus 2. Okay? So, negative 1 minus 2, that's going to be negative 3, plus 2 is negative 1. If I do that for the 3, okay, negative 3 squared minus 2 times negative 3 plus 2. That's going to be negative 9 plus 6 plus 2. 6 plus 2, 8 plus negative 9. That's a negative 1. You see how right in the vertex, 2, negative 1, 2, negative 1, if you complete that all the time with the vertex in the middle, it's going to make your life easier. Negative 3, negative 1. Negative 2, 2. Negative 1, 3. 0, 2. 1, negative 1. Now I just plot. Negative 3, negative 1. Negative 2, 2. Negative 1, 3. 0, 2. 1, negative 1. And I have my parabola. And I'm done. So, when you are ready, work with your partners to do the next 2 questions and then take the pre-assessment.